It's the 8th of May and the world is a fine place to be. Spring is well on its way and I thought it would be a nice day to give you a new farm update. In the garden everything is rapidly turning green. We have the berry bushes here leafing out. Right behind there are bees and bumblebees, butterflies feeding on the nectar of the first flowers. This is lavas, Maggie plant we say in Dutch, Maggieplant, leaving out, and very soon the fruit trees will start flowering, like these cherries here, the plums behind there, pears that will follow soon after. The structure you see over here is going to be the washing station, where all the vegetables that come from the land are gonna go through before they will eventually be packed and perhaps stored a little while in yet another room which we built underneath the barn in kind of cellar. So it's a cold room. Whereas this one here is gonna have water, gonna bring water from the barn in, create more sinks, drying tables. So in a month or so, early June, this should be ready and operating. The greenhouse is actually quite empty at the moment because we took out a lot of small plants and planted them out on the field in the garden over the last week. So more about those in a minute when we're gonna go down there. For the moment it's just some lettuce, a second sowing of spring onion, some lettuce for our own use, and beetroot, mangold, and a couple of other things standing here. Another few weeks until the frost tender plants can be planted out here. So let's first go to the barn and see if there's any life in there. In the barn there's a lot of life, 60 goats to be precise, 25 adults and 35 young ones that are about a month old now. From tomorrow onwards the plan is to have them out on pasture for most of the day. They have been out for up to a couple of hours a day to get used to the fresh greens, and now for longer periods of time. There's one little one that's waiting for the bottle. This one. Meanwhile you're eating Lente's jacket. Should we see if the bottle's ready? We found the bottle. In the garden, the first beds are planted. The ones behind me here have broad beans, peas for pots, as well as salad, onions and leeks, and radishes and several other members of the cabbage family, like early broccoli, kale, and more like that. It has been very dry for the last month. We haven't had any precipitation and very little before that. So we're watering everything by hand. Ja, goed idee, liefie. Luckily, I've now connected to a source that is up there, right below the large birch trees. And where the excavator is, we now have made a connection, a main tap, and then a hose that runs all the way around the garden here to there. So now finally we have water right at the garden. It's good water, drinking water quality, good pressure, and if I find out that there is enough in the source, in the well, then I'll start thinking about a sprinkler system as well. For the minute, we're just using these 10-liter water cans and doing everything by hand. So that has been a bit of a job the last weeks, but things are at least surviving, if not thriving yet maybe. The sun is very bright, wind is still a bit cold, but very soon they're forecasting some mild weather, some rain as well, and things are really gonna take off. We're gonna make more beds. The idea is to extend the beds to over halfway on this side and plant potatoes at the back there, so that we have this side in use, and the other side will need plastic for a couple more months to get rid of the grass. The bees are flying on and off with pollen and nectar, so things look really well from the outside. Later today or tomorrow I'll go for a first spring inspection and open the cubes, look at the brood, see if they still have enough honey, and have a look at the general condition of the colonies. There's a black and white flycatcher sitting in the tree right behind me. It's the first time I see it again this year. It must have just returned. Wonderful. What a beautiful time of the year. I hope you enjoyed the update. We're going to enjoy the rest of our Sunday and come back with a new update in a couple of weeks. Hopefully, see you then.